your passion won't allow you to be contained. So even with God on my side, I'm not going to say it's been easy. Writing poetry came up by accident. I'm not writing it. It's being written through me. If the joy is not finding you, you go find it. When I was in Memphis, I had a really unsuccessful move to Atlanta. And I ended up moving back to Memphis with nothing, tail tucked between my legs, going back to live with my mom. Didn't have a place to stay. I was trying to get my own apartment. My mom had to wire me $50 gas just so I could drive back home from Atlanta, back to Memphis.
Wow.
And I'm on food stamps and trying to get another apartment. And in the middle of all of that, the theater company that I had joined when I went back to my hometown said, "We're going to Paris to perform. Do you want to come with us?" So I finally found a job in Memphis. And I told them, I said, I'm going to have to leave. And they're like, well, you either choose the job or you choose whatever you're leaving for. And I said, well, I'm going to Paris to perform. If you're in the city, just stop by and see the show. You know, sometimes you just get tired of the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Your passion won't allow you to be contained.
God always shows out once you move on and say, hey, it's time. It sounded like every time there was a transition, it was just like, oh, and I got this after that, you know?
It's always like that. There's always a ram in the bush somewhere.
Yes.
Even with God on my side, which I fully and firmly believe, He's with me every step. I'm not going to say it's been easy. There have been some really tough times, but has it been worthwhile? Yes.
Yeah. Before we move on from the acting passion, can you give us some of your credits or just a few of the cool jobs that you liked?
Well, let's talk about my upcoming stuff because I'm really excited about that.
Okay, let's talk about it.
I am going to be on the Upshaws. I am going to be on Wanda Sykes' new show. I have a hilarious scene with Mike Epps.
Oh,
I can't really say anything
wow.
about it. It's premiering February 16th on Netflix. So I'm in that. And then there is a cute little show called With Love. I think it's an Emmy nominated show. Yeah, I've got 3 shows premiering this year.
Oh, wow.
So this show is called With Love.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Amazon Prime, an original show. It only had 5 episodes in the first season, but it's a really cute little show. Mostly Latino cast, but there's some diversity in there. And just, I fell in love with the characters. Everybody on that set is so talented. And I was just privileged to be there that day. So I'm going to be in that. I don't know when that's premiering, but it's going to be soon. I think it might be April. And then I'm in a new comedy sketch show that actually just won an Emmy. It's called I Think You Should Leave.
Oh, man. Okay.
It's a comedy sketch show, and I'm doing one of the comedy sketches with the star of the show. So,
oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, there's some good stuff coming up.
I've been able to see you grow, and it's just amazing, super inspiring. So
thank you.
I'm excited for you, and I can't wait to see these things. I'll make sure I list these for everybody so they can catch everything. Okay. I do want to hear very quickly before we go on to one more thing about The Voice, because that's something that I saw you on.
It was a huge breakthrough for me, but it didn't help me with my singing career. It helps me with my acting career.
It seemed like that.
It was crazy. All of a sudden, I was just booking like crazy after The Voice. And yeah, I really didn't want to do the audition for The Voice. I really didn't. All my friends were going. I had at least 10 friends that went to the audition that year that are amazing singers, and they didn't get through. Mm-hmm. And my sister said to me, girl, it was just your time. It was just your time. And it was just like I said before, everything was easy. It was like doors just open. Okay, Kim, go ahead and walk through. Okay, Kim. And I'm looking around like, really? Okay, I don't know what I'm doing here, but okay.
Oh my gosh. And what
So yeah,
season was that that you were in?
I was on season 2. That
Okay.
was when Christina Aguilera was still a coach. CeeLo was a
I remember
coach.
that.
Yeah, CeeLo was hilarious. Oh my God, he's so funny.
Did you have a coach or did you?
Yeah, my coach was Adam.
Oh, I do remember. Yep. Uh-huh. Oh my gosh. After you finished The Voice, I kept seeing all these acting roles, and I was like, it seems like she keeps getting acting stuff. I thought you were going to be doing more singing, but it doesn't matter because it got you with your first passion. And oh my gosh, that's amazing. So
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, I just had to ask about that experience because that was when I saw like a cool turnaround to me, but I'm in the outside, so you know.
it was one of the best experiences of my life. And when I got that show, yeah, I had one foot in the show and the other in the mud. I was going through some stuff at that time too.
Oh, you couldn't
And
tell. You could not tell.
I think that's because, NBC was taking care of us. They fed us and groomed us and gave us makeup artists and choreographers and PR people and attorneys. We were like superstars. They treated us like superstars from the very beginning.
Well, that's good timing if you were going through stuff because you got treated like a queen. So
It was great timing. My landlord didn't know what was going on. I couldn't say anything because I had signed a confidentiality agreement. And then she would see me getting picked up in a limo in a gown. It's like, what
what is
what
going
is
on?
going on with this girl? I just
I hope you didn't have rent due because she'll be like, wait, she all
I
dressed
did.
up.
I did. I did.
Your probably like, you'll understand soon. You'll get it soon.
Yeah, she finally did, but she still wasn't happy. I'm glad I moved out of that place.
Oh, thank goodness. Woo.
Boy, I could write a book.
I was gonna say you could do like a whole movie on your life. Okay, so we've been talking so long, but I do want to get to your second passion.
Okay, okay,
You
okay.
said you have a new one. Tell us about it.
This came up by accident. Writing poetry came up by accident. I had written a few poems back in the 80s when I was like young kid in love. They just stayed in a book, like a poetry notebook. I'm a songwriter as well. So I would like write little snippets of songs and songs that I've published that are on my CDs. The lyrics to those songs are still in that book. You know how people go back and they show, well, this is how the song New York, New York started. They just scratched it out on a piece of paper. I got stuff like that in my book. And there was a poem in there about a guy I had dated. I just felt like we were just so right for each other, but he decided he was going to marry someone else. And he's married to that someone else to this day. So happy for him that his marriage has worked out. But I wrote this poem like years ago. And one of my friends said, I'm hosting an open mic night at this little black box theater. You should come and perform. And I'm thinking she wants me to sing. And I'm like, you know what? There are going to be a lot of poets at this thing. Maybe I should read one of these poems. And I picked out the one that I wrote about this guy and I put it to music from Erykah Badu behind it. And everybody loved it. I was like, what? So I got to thinking, this might be something good. And then on the way home, I wrote another poem.
Oh.
Yeah, I was so inspired. There were so many talented poets in the audience that night, and so many talented people that could just speak off the cuff. And I was just so inspired that night. I wrote another poem on the way home. It was about this other guy that I dated because this guy got up and he addressed the audience and said, have you ever met someone where you felt like you had been hit by a bolt of lightning? And everybody in the room went, yeah. Everybody had that person, that just made you go, wow. And I thought back to this time where I did meet this guy and I was like just blown away by him. And so I wrote the poem on the way home about this guy. I thought I had finished it. And the next day I went to the grocery store and I could not get out of the parking lot. I'm sitting there finishing up the poem, sat in the parking lot of the grocery store for 45 minutes, and then went and got my groceries. And the poem's finished. And it's called All That Glitters. This is just something new that I just realized I could do. Since I did that first open mic night, I think it was this past summer, I've written like 14 poems, and my poems are long. They're like 6 to 8 minutes long.
Woo!
Yeah, that's a lot of words.
They just kind of pour out like that?
They just pour out. I'm not writing it. It's being written through me. And I was working on this one last night. I woke up at like 3:30 in the morning and started writing. It's called I Bounced into the Arms of My Blessings Today. And it's just about the spiritual side of realizing that you don't want to live the life you've been living anymore. And in order to live and step into this new divinity and know who you are and love who you are, you got to shed all of this other skin. The poem is like I'm just falling through the cosmos, and spirit's like, don't be afraid. This is part of the process. So you're going to come out new, and you're going to come out clean, and you're going to come out fresh like a newborn baby. Don't be afraid. And you're seeing all of the bad stuff in your life go by, kind of like you're skydiving through space, is how the poem describes it. And I look back at it, and I was reading it to a friend of mine. I was like, who wrote this? I don't even remember writing these words.
Oh, what
it just like it just comes out. Wow. So I'm glad to be a vessel. I'm glad to be a vessel because I know it's not me writing these words.
And how do you feel when you finish writing?
That's a good question. Usually I write in the middle of the night. I wake up 3:30 a.m., 4 a.m., and I feel spent. I feel exhausted. Mm-hmm. Like, and if you've been channeling something, it takes a lot of energy out of your physical body. And when I'm done writing for a certain period in the middle of the night, where I'm writing for like a couple of hours, finally, I'll just feel like, okay, I can go to sleep now.
Oh, wow.
I feel drained.
But you sleep well after that?
Yeah.
Do you have dreams after?
The other night, I dreamed I was in a filthy restaurant. And I look up the meanings of my dreams when I wake up. And it says something about, yeah, you're shedding skin and you're stepping into this new life. And I'm like, okay, that's what that means, really.
And isn't that what the poem is about that you mentioned too?
Yeah.
It's all in alignment.
Yeah, full circle. Pysa, thank you for asking me to do this, because it's making me look back on what happens to me on a daily basis and just realize what a miracle it is, and what a miracle it is I'm still here. I don't get to talk about these things too often, and I thank you for pinpointing these things and asking me about them, because you don't really realize you're just living your life day to day. And until you start talking about it and hearing yourself verbalize these things that have happened, you're like, okay, I have led a pretty amazing life. Thanks, God.
That's one of my favorite things to hear from a guest. So thank you for sharing that, and for sharing everything, and being just open to be vulnerable and be open about everything that went on, about your challenges and everything else, because that's what helps the people that listen. And that's part of, I think, all of our purposes is to help people. And you have so many different ways of helping, but telling your story like this also helps. And, as we hear your story, we also hear how all the steps are aligned. We're always thinking about the next move, the next thing, the next thing. And when you go back and think about your path, it's just like, oh my gosh, look at what I accomplished. And then you get to see where spirit or the universe, we both believe in God, you get to really see how God stepped in. One of the most amazing things about what you said for me is hearing how God just helped and how easy it was when it was supposed to happen.
When it's supposed to happen, and it's not just in my life, anytime doors just fly open for you, you don't have to knock, you don't have to jiggle the handle, you don't have to ring the bell. The doors just fly open and somebody says, walk through.
Yeah.
The room is yours. That's when you know it has to be divine, because these are doors that normally wouldn't be open at all.
I've never heard of an agent having a headshot without one submitting or sending it, and under those circumstances. Like, you hadn't used that headshot in forever, so they found you, and it was just like, oh.
And guess what?
What?
That was 2008, and I've been with that agent ever since.
You're still with them.
He's one of my best friends. I called him and wished him happy birthday just the other day, sang him happy birthday over the phone.
Oh, I want to hear that song. He was lucky to get a song. Speaking of that, make sure you guys listen to her music and follow her on Facebook, on social media. And can you tell us how to find you?
Yes, my website is kimmyarbrough.com. Everything you need to know about me is there. But I also am on Facebook at Kim Yarbrough. I'm on Instagram at Kim_Yarbrough. I'm on Twitter, Kim Yarbrough.
Yes, make it simple and plain, right?
That's right. And you can access any of my social media through my website too. You can just click on the little icon for each social media page and you'll get my page.
And I want them to see that that summertime performance. Is that somewhere on there?
It's on my website. Yeah.
You just have a star power about you, and you are a star. You with all the people that you need to be working with. I can't wait to see the next things coming up. It's just so cool to know so many like talented people. So I appreciate you taking your time. I know you're a working actress. That is your job. You act.
That is my steady job.
Yeah.
Now trying to figure out how to be a working singer, that's a different story. But I cracked the code on the acting. So okay, I'll take it.
And that was the #1 passion. So that works.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. And do you have any closing words for anybody? Anything inspirational or just a word for somebody that was like you as a kid or anything to close with?
You know what I feel like is really important, especially right now, is mental health. I'm always considered one of the strong ones. And I've discovered through this pandemic and these lockdowns and everything that's going on in the world right now, civil unrest and all sorts of things, we are constantly in crisis management mode. We've been in that mode for about 3 years now. And we weren't meant to live that way. And people are having some real struggles with mental health right now. Sometimes the strong people get weak too. I find myself tears running down the middle of the day for no reason, apparently. There's definitely a reason behind it, but we are in the middle of trying to figure out what our new normal is. Everybody is, because things are never going to be the way they were in our lifetime. Look how long it took people to recover from the Spanish flu of 1918. Mm-hmm. So I just want to encourage people to do what makes you happy. Don't put your life in danger, but try to do at least one thing for yourself a day that makes you happy, so you feel like you aren't losing a grip on your sanity. These are tough times. These are tough times right now. There's some crazy stuff going on in the world. And if you don't monitor your sanity and just push ahead and think, oh, I'm the strong one, I can do it. We're all human. And I would just encourage everyone to be a little kinder to yourself and be a little kinder to those you come in contact with. Because everybody's fighting some kind of battle.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm just going to say mic drop on that.
Mic drop.
Yeah. So find that passion, find something that's fun and joyful, and check on your strong friends too.
Check on your strong friends. I've been watching episodes of Sherry Shepherd's new show.
Uh-huh.
And the very last thing she says before she closes every show is be intentional about having a good time.
Mm.
That's the thing she says every day before she closes. And we really need to do that. If the joy is not finding us, God knows there's enough sadness in the world. But if the joy is not finding you, you go find it. Even if it's one little small thing to help get you over the hump for that day. That's all we can think about is what's in front of us.
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that, and looking forward to seeing the future, seeing the shows that you have coming out. And yeah, thank you for just being a light for me and for my mom. I know a lot of people will be inspired by what you say today and just by your journey, and it's going to push them to go after something they like and to say, I'm done if they need to, if they have a job like you did. I appreciate it, and have a blessed one.
You are so welcome. Thank you for having me, Pysa.
You're welcome.
Good luck to you and congratulations.
Oh, thank you. You too. Bye, everybody.
Bye.